What were you doing before real estate? And then why the heck would you ever decide to do real estate?
Started in the chemical plants, 19 years old, and I got a job as a chemical operator. And I had that job where I was on day shift, so it didn't really hinder my real estate career until I started to ramp up the volume side. I was 20 years old, purchased my very first property, had about $40,000 saved up, and I wound up paying that property off by the time I was 22 years old.
Derek Kelley, flipping over 450 houses and wholesale deals in his career, 50 to 60 last year alone. Now juggling 20 plus active flips. He's Houston's real estate powerhouse and has mastered partnerships.
You look at what we just did in Omega Bay in Galveston. You got over 60-something houses that are active listing in Omega Bay and Bayou Vista. We just got ours under contract in less than 30 days. How did I do that? The only way you're going to do that is to buy it deep, do your rehab better than anybody else that's out there, and then you undercut the market. Those deals like that will make, 100 out of.
Welcome, Rounders. So excited to have you here with us today. I am thrilled to be one of your hosts, Andrew Jobe, joined by Mr. J.R. Reed. How are you doing today, J.R.?
Doing good, man. Doing great.
I'm excited.
You're always excited.
I just can't help but be excited. We've got an amazing guest today sharing his story, not just sharing it, but really walking our audience through what they need to do to get from where he was to his level now today.
Yeah, so we have the one and only Derek Kelley. Derek Kelley's probably doing more in Houston right now than anybody else I can think of.
If someone else is doing more than me, I love to meet them. So I have a lot of partnerships that I do, a lot of people, a lot of involvement that I have into deals, structuring of deals, all the way around. So, I don't say that in a boasting way, but I say it in a way of, I like being around heavy hitters, people that are doing movements that are, kind of doing the same thing and on the same path and same goals that I'm on. So
heck yeah.
Anytime I can be around people like that, that's what I want to be. And that's kind of who I hang out with too.
You're already unpacking stuff now, but just to give you guys an idea of what Derek Kelley's doing, he's flipping 20 plus houses right now.
Yep.
How many houses did y'all flip last year? You and James flipped last year.
I don't know the exact number of it, but it was well over probably 50 to 60 houses last year. I don't know the exact number to it that were there.
Y'all made money though.
Yeah, we made money.
That was the important part.
Yeah, we were very profitable. We're actually very profitable this year already.
And you're doing multifamily investing. I know that you bought a RV park with Jonathan Chacon at one time, a friend of the show, been on the show before.
Yep.
And so, you're doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, so I really wanted to, think about how I could capitalize on skipping levels and moving to the next level. Instead of just starting off from wholesaling, moving over to, flipping and then end up going into commercial space. How can I squeeze that gap and go without making mistakes along the way? So you are going to make mistakes being in this business. You're not going to prevent that, especially if you're doing volume. But, how could I get to that next level? And the best way was adding value to somebody else first, and then I would receive more value.
For sure.
That was one thing that I focused on that. And all of that starts with a deal.
Yeah, 100%. So let's talk about it. What were you doing before real estate?
So
that got you, and then why the heck would you ever decide to do real estate?
All right. So I guess we'll start from kind of the beginning. So straight out of high school, I wound up having a baby. Girlfriend at the time, she wound up being my wife. Later on, got pregnant while we were in high school, had a child. I wanted to go into nursing field. Is what I was actually going to college for, as I wanted to be like a nurse anesthetist. And I found out real quick that I did not like that and I needed to make money. So wound up getting into the chemical plants. Started in the chemical plants, 19 years old, and I got a job as a chemical operator. So started a chemical operator and excelled at that extremely, extremely fast, knew my job very, very, very well, basically better than most of the people that were around me. And really wound up being a trainer, training other operators. And I had that job where I was on day shift really for the last 8 or 9 years. So it didn't really hinder my real estate career until I started to ramp up the volume side. And that's when things kind of took a toll on me and how I had to alter and adjust my business operation that I was doing, my partnerships that I was doing, and the stress load that I took on from that. So
So it sounds like you were actually working as a trainer in the chemical plants.
I was working, I was working as a trainer at chemical plants. I bought my very first home, which was a home we lived in, was in 2008. Okay, so I was 20 years old, purchased my very first property, had about $40,000 saved up. Bought my first property, and I wound up paying that property off by the time I was 22 years old. Wow. So 22 years old, I paid that property off, and I bought the house directly across the street from me, which was a foreclosure. And this was in Baytown area.
2008, 2009,
2008, 2009, 2010, right in that era right there.
So did you buy it at the auction? Is that how you got it?
I did not buy it at the auction. I bought that. It was listed on the MLS.
Okay.
So I didn't know about hard money loans, private. I didn't know that. All I knew was conventional, putting down my 20% and purchase. That's all I knew. I didn't know anything other than that. I wish I would have met somebody like me, and that would have really changed and altered my direction of my life at that time. So, the lack of hustle, I never had to get motivated by anybody else. Money motivated me. I like money. I think it's a tool. I like what it can do for me. I like the opportunities it can create as well.
For sure.
So for people to say, "Hey, I don't like money," people that say that usually don't have it.
Yeah.
So the people that do have money, I think it amplifies who you are. So if you're a good person and you make a lot of money, you're going to do a lot of good things with it.
For sure.
So,
or if you're a bad person,
and you're going to be I have terms for that on what you will do. So, I worked in the plants, and I was still building real estate. I knew that the path going through real estate is where 90% of all millionaires come from.
Yeah.
So there was no reason to really revamp that. I learned about appreciation in houses because I held those as rentals. So I wound up buying another property. Actually, I had those two rentals, wound up buying another property in Baytown in a different location. Then wound up, hey, my kids, I want them to go to a different school, which was Barbers Hill ISD. And that's whenever I started building my very first home for new construction.
Okay.
So basically almost like house hacking.
You just kept going and going and going and
I was buying a house. I paid that one off, moved into another one. I had rental income that was coming in, had zero issues with rental. I was no problems with payments, no issues with maintenance. These were all brick home on slab, no problems with it. I had very good experience with rental.
Being a landlord's easy like that.
It was very easy. Yeah, you had no problems. So they paid on time. They stayed there for a long time. I didn't really maximize the rents on it, what I could, because they were such good tenants.
Yeah.
And then in February 2017, I wound up selling those rentals, which was before Harvey happened.
Okay.
And Harvey happened. Luckily, I'd sold those. They both flooded. I didn't have flood insurance on it. I got very, very lucky on that.
Super lucky.
And I was sitting on I had quite a bit of cash that I was sitting on at this time. So I thought those values of those properties, when I sold them, they would never go higher than what they did. And I was way, way wrong of that.
What was the trigger, or what was the instigator that said, "Hey, I want to sell these, time to sell these"?
I just felt it was the right time. I just thought, my lack of knowledge thought it was the right time. I thought I had maximized these houses, and this was the most I would ever achieve. I bought these houses for $87,000 and $83,000. I thought, man, I'm getting $150,000 for this thing. There's no way it's going to go higher than this. It's just not going to do it.
I mean, it's still a good decision. You double your original purchase price. So,
and I had rental income that was coming in. That was something that was paid off. So, my goal was really not so much to save. I like to invest. But I was doing things, putting my money into CDs, making what was 3% at the time. I thought I was killing it. 3% rates, that's a joke. That's nothing. So that's where I was locking money up at. I had CDs and things like that. And I kept watching, after I sold those properties, I had that cash I was sitting on just doing like stock market stuff. And it wasn't really moving my ticker. It wasn't really doing anything for me. Like it just... Yeah, you see your money go up and down, but it wasn't exciting to me. It wasn't excitement to me. So I was like, man, I want to
tangible as like a house.
I want to get back into real estate. How can I do this? And I'm still working at the chemical plants. And then I kept seeing
you had to be making good money at the chemical plants because you're paying things off.
I was making, with my pension plan, everything like that, I was close to $200 a year.
Okay.
So I mean, I had insurance, I had 401k. I had a ton of money in my 401k. I'd always maxed it out. I had 15% going into my 401k. My wife at the time was a school teacher. So, I mean, we were living good. Yeah. I mean, we had a good living. We had vehicles. We had paid off vehicles. House I had paid off. So, I mean, I was very good with money. I've never had a problem with money, finance side. And then I kept seeing James, which me and James went to school together. Okay. James Toller. You know, I played baseball with James when we were 8. He was at a different, he was at Central League. I was at East League. I was at Central League one time. We wound up playing. We were the only 2 white guys on the All-Star team. So, but he was at Lee. I was at Sterling. So, you know, we kind of went our own paths, especially he went to college, went that route. He wound up coming back into real estate, but I never really connected back with him. And, you know, you have Facebook friends, things like that you see, but I never really connected with that. I kept seeing him on Facebook post these houses, do this and that. And I'm like, man, what's this dude doing? So I was like, let me reach out to him. I reached out to, hey, what do you got going on? What are you doing? He said, come meet up with me. So I came and met up with him, and that was like on a Friday or Saturday. By Monday, I didn't have properties to find, but I found a house that was in the foreclosure auction that just so happened to be on my street. Okay. And that property, it was going into the auction. I was like, hey, I got a house we can go buy. He's like, let's go do it. So I was like, okay. So he showed up at my house with a $120,000 check. I had a $100,000 check. And that Tuesday, we went to go to the auction to go buy it. We didn't get to buy the property because it wound up going way higher than what we expected. And but that kind of showed me the avenue that I could go, which was the auction route. And that's kind of what I did at first, because I didn't have avenue to get properties. And I was buying houses from Hubzoo, auction.com, going into the foreclosure auctions to go buy them at the counties. Learned really quick Harris County saturated, and you got a bunch of people that are buying things up there at full value. It didn't make sense. So I focused in the outskirt areas, and that's where I really kind of started re-ramping my career into real estate. Was in 2019, 2020 was whenever I was going to the auctions and buying.
And you're still working during the day?
Still working in the chemical plants.
Okay.
Right? So still working in the plants. So I'm kind of doing both. I'm doing GCs. You know, I'm painting the houses. I'm going over there putting flooring in. I'm doing sheetrock work. I'm doing baseboards. I had the tools to do it.
So you were doing the work too?
I was doing the work too.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I was doing tile work. I was doing backsplashes. I could do basically everything that was in the house. I was doing except for countertops. I couldn't figure out how to do granite. And that's kind of how I started. So I started building my list of people so I can expand and do more houses at one time. So while I was at work, I can go put a lot box, call my guys, and be able to do paints and things like that. And a lot of these houses, they weren't full major rehabs. You know, they were lipstick jobs. You know, I mean, we were doing. Now I was squeezing it down big time on my margins. So
but that's how you're making your money, because you're doing some of the work.
Well, you go to auction, you go pay cash. I'm paying for the rehab cash, so I'm not paying 2% on origination. I'm not paying 12% interest. I'm running cash. I'm GC and everything myself. So my cost was getting down. You know, I basically could take it. I could buy an 80% deal and I could squeeze the full margins out of it.
Yeah.
You know, so
still make 10% on it, no problem.
Oh, no problem. You know, I was very, I was squeezing my numbers big time, but I couldn't really scale like that. You cannot scale at that pace like that. You got to be able to do more and do volume.
So how many were you doing? Like you go to the auction?
I could do about 4 at a time.
4 at a time, okay.
Yeah, I got up to about 4 at a time. At one point, I was bringing about $1 million in cash up to the foreclosure auctions. Just cashier's checks made out to my name.
Yeah.
And that was around 2021. And then I went through a divorce. And whenever I went through that divorce, that took a toll on me. You know, I had a good upbringing. My dad's very tight with money. I never knew how much money he made, but I know he makes very good money. But we didn't have like the four-wheelers that, he could have got me all that stuff, but he didn't. You know, like my first vehicle, he paid $2,001 for it, So I think by watching him, I learned and embedded in me hard work, effort, things like that, things that you can't teach people.
Yeah.
So I always had that by watching him, do those things. And he owned a business.
For sure.
So it's still active today. It's been in business for over 50-something years.
What does your dad do?
He owns 2 towing companies.
Okay.
So it's, for him being able to watch that stuff and how he went through that, I think subconsciously me seeing that is what gave me my hard work and efforts. that were there. I never had to be told into me to do that. I also went through school not missing one day of school.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad, he wouldn't let me miss. He'd send me to school 105 fever. So those things would show me hey, I got to show. Now I could go to school and go home, but he'd make me go to school and go check in first.
Got to show up.
I got to show up. I show up on time. I'm a lot of those things that were inbred into me that I didn't have to get told to do that.
Do you think he did it intentionally?
So my dad's very micromanageable of things. He's very tight with money. Me and him have a different concept, but both of us are good with it. Mine will just scale a lot faster than what he did, just because he was very good at saving. He has what we call like a Hispanic mentalities. They're very good with money, but they want that cash in their hand.
They're tight with it.
They're tight with it. They
Super
want that
tight.
cash with their hand, and that's the way he is. So he believed in the CDs. He was going to put money into a CD. I'm like, don't do that. I'll pay you double. I'll pay you double. Just don't put it in a CD. So, he just like the safe route.
Yeah.
And that's why I valued his opinion so much. And that's probably what restricted me from leaving from the plants way earlier than what I did. I was literally flipping 20 houses at one time while I was working in the chemical plants. Working 50 hours a week somewhere else and outworking other people that were doing this full time.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable the amount that I was able to do.
Do you think that your work ethic and your drive at doing that had effects on your personal life?
Oh, absolutely. It caused me to get into a divorce.
You think so?
Oh yeah. I mean, I get obsessed with what I do. It's an obsession. It's sometimes too far.
Yeah.
I know I have that, but I just never half-assed everything that I do.
You can't.
So it was really, something that was, that was probably the cause of it. By being so devoted in what I was doing and growth, caused me to lose sight of what was really important. And whenever I went through that, it almost took me out mentally. It wasn't a financial thing. It was just something that mental. I've never went through something like that before. I never went through a downfall. Everything always went my way. Things worked out. I was able to fix problems, whatever it was that come my way. And then you go through something like that, and most people can't recover from that. And they end up doing something that they can't revert, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was there. It made me understand things that I shouldn't be understanding.
Depression.
To that. I mean, I got on it. I got on medication for it. I went through all of that stuff. Anxiety medication, antidepressants, all of that I had to get on. If I would not have done that, I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Yeah.
So I've been there through that, through the stress levels, but I would never have went to the level that I went to now had I stayed where I was at.
Yeah.
So I had to go through things, and that's where they put you. I don't regret them. I'm in a much better position of where I'm at, and I actually have somebody that truly loves me. It's a difference that you have that support from somebody. And I'm very, very, I would not be where I'm at today if it wasn't for my wife now. So in September of 2022, I'd only owned one house. I only owned one property in September of 2022. Right now, I'm holding a portfolio of over $20 million from September of 2022.
When did you get married to you and your wife?
Well, my divorce was finalized in September of 2022, and I got married the following August.
Oh, wow.
So I met her in that same month that my divorce was finalized. So everything I had talked about, like that I would say, hey, I need to be restricted, or I can't do this because of my wife, or I can't do this because of, she doesn't believe into me 100%, or whatever it is. All of those excuses that I made ran out. So when they run out, then you got two options. Either everything that you said you truly believed and it's time to show, or you don't believe it and you go back, and you get humbled into that point.
So it sounds like you got out of a non-supportive situation, supportive of what your aspirations were.
Yeah, I was on to something bigger.
Yeah.
I was on to something bigger. It wasn't money. And I always got looked at like that I was chasing money. It's, like yesterday we made $126,000. Like that doesn't do anything. I didn't even show up to closing. It doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
I don't make a post about that. but it doesn't move my ticker for me anymore. So I more so get excited about the leverage I can do with that, getting the money back like that and deploying it again into something bigger and better. That's where I really get more excited about things like that I get. It's, but making that on the money doesn't move it
For sure.
For me like that. I more so get the art of the deal is more exciting to me than it is the closing of it and receiving.
The chase and the next thing you got to get.
So yeah, it's like the chase. It's the deal.
Let's go back to where you started, where it was the foreclosures, going to auction. So let's dive into some of those stories, that experience, and go back to what that was like for you. So you show up with the first one, y'all both have checks, you didn't get the house you thought you were going to get. Did y'all buy a house that day, or how long after that till you got your first one off the auction block?
So I bought one probably, it might have been 3 to 4 weeks after that I bought one myself in the following auction. So my very first property I bought was off of auction.com. In the same neighborhood, but it was off of auction.com. Very first property that I bought into the auctions. And bought it through auction.com. It actually went through title stuff. And when I buying the property and going over there, and there was somebody living there. And I waited.
Did you know that when you were buying it, or that was a surprise?
Yes, I did. Okay. No, I didn't know. I didn't know they were there. And I didn't know how to do all the deed searches stuff that I know how to do now. But I bought it. Luckily, there was nothing on the deed. It was a house was built in 2017. So it wasn't a bad house, but there's somebody living there.
Sure.
And I basically waited for him to leave, and I wiped the house out, car and all. Like literally, it was empty. I cleared everything out of it, and he never came back. He just I guess he chalked it up like, I guess I'm gone. It's out. My ride's over.
Oh, you literally waited for him to leave the house one day.
I literally waited for him to leave. I had guys with me. We had a trailer out front. I had somebody standing outside. My brother standing outside with a pistol, make sure nobody was going to run up on me. And we got everything out of the house.
Into a dumpster?
No, we was into a trailer.
Oh,
into a trailer. He had a truck there, or a vehicle there was in the garage. Obviously, it got towed off, and I never heard anything else about it. Never came back.
Never came back for anything?
Never came back, didn't come back for nothing. So
did he see, he knew you guys were there?
No, he didn't. He was squatting.
Yeah.
He was basically just staying there. He hadn't paid or whatever. I didn't ever talk to him.
That's a fun story. Those
awesome.
Those are the things that people don't realize they're getting themselves into.
No, and I didn't know. Obviously, I go different routes now. We just bought another one that was in auction. We went through the actual eviction process.
Right.
I don't advise doing what I did.
Yeah.
It's not. That's not a.
There's always multiple ways to do things, but there's different ways of going about it once it's not your first one. And yeah.
So
Could you imagine being the guy coming home and being like, well, I guess I'm moving on.
Yeah. Locks change. You can't get in and everything's gone. It's just carpet and all emptied out. So, but yeah, that was like one of my first ones that I bought into the auction, and I kept buying those even during COVID. COVID, they said, hey, they're not doing foreclosures. They weren't foreclosing on government entities, but they were still foreclosing every month. I was going out there buying them for $1 over the minimum bids. So and then I learned when I was talking about I bring in, sometimes like $1 million in cash, cashier's checks. So you make a cashier's check, made out to your name, you go to the bank, I'd be a bunch of different denominations. I'd get, hey, give me 100, 50, 20, 5, dollar or 1,000, just because I wanted to get as close as I could to the number, so I didn't have $50,000 just floating out there, waiting in thin air, waiting for a refund check. And I'd go to the auction and I'd buy a house, and then another one would pop up. I'm like, oh, that's a good deal. And I had no money. I didn't bring enough. So I missed out on a couple $100,000 profit deals, and I was like, that ain't never happening again. So I'd bring as much as I had. I'd bring it up there.
Bring extra.
Yeah, I'd bring it up there and try to buy.
What kind of research were you doing before you went up there to buy the property?
So obviously, without having to pull the title, I would do a deed search, right? So I'd search in. I'd go to the deed records. I'd pull them. I'd pull their name. Anybody that was attached to the deed, I would check where the tax records were being sent to and search those just to see if anything would pop up, like child support liens, IRS tax liens, UCC liens, anything like that may stick. I wanted to make sure that I was prepared for that or what I would get into. So that's basically what I was.
Would you drive the properties before the auction?
I'd go knock on the door.
Oh, you go knock on the door.
Oh yeah, I'd go I'd go knock on the door and ask them basically, hey, I'm an investor. I'd knock on the door, step back. I'm your typical white guy, and they would open the door.
White guy.
Yeah, they would open the door and they would talk to me. Sometimes they would hand me keys and surveys. I've everything. They would give me it all, and sometimes I couldn't help them. If I could help them, I'd go through buy an auction. I would help them before it went to auction. But most of the time I couldn't, because these houses that I were buying were 2017, 2018, 2019. And you don't have much equity that's in there. So I couldn't really help them. But my thought was, if I can get inside of your house, now I have an advantage against anybody else that goes there, because now I know how much rehab I got.
For sure.
So my thought was to always get inside the house no matter what. And I
out a
would.
way.
However I would get in. Yeah.
So you mentioned something about you went to the Harris County. You're like, this is saturated. And so you said, I'm going to go to some of these outer counties, tertiary. Where was your first one? And then kind of which counties were you operating in, and walk us through that selection process.
So basically your outskirt areas, your, Chambers County, Liberty County, Montgomery County, Galveston County. Those are the areas that I would focus in. On that. And I would go there to auctions and go try to buy from them. And you wouldn't have the competition that you would in Harris County. You go to the ones out those outskirt areas, I knew the trustees, I knew their phone numbers, I knew how much they were going to be auctioning off at before they even showed up. So I had a major advantage that I had built into these systems that probably weren't supposed to do, but I had it. And I could go get inside these properties. I'd go talk to the homeowners. And that's kind of how I built a niche into that. To, basically be able to go comfortably buy these properties without getting into, getting bit.
Yeah, a lot of risk. You mitigated all your risk.
Yeah. So, the rehab, I got a huge advantage, and I know what type of problems I'm going to run into. Am I going to have to go through an eviction process? And what am I going to have to do with this homeowner, once this happens? So, the best one that I ever bought into auction was actually...
We're gonna stop you right there. And we're going to take a quick break so we can go to our sponsor. And then on the backside, you can tell us about the best deal.
Welcome back, Rounders. Sitting here listening to Derek Kelley's story and all the competitive advantages, the way that you honed your skill, the way you targeted foreclosures and really mastered that was incredible. It's fantastic. You were about to tell us an amazing story, or what was, you said your best one?
Yeah, so my best one was actually my personal house now. So I live in the Mont Bellevue area, and I had one come up in foreclosure auction, and I was not prepared to buy it, didn't do any research on it, but they told me the legal description on it, and I knew the area that it was. And I looked it up really fast, and I saw it was 5 acres. An acre of land goes for about $100,000 where I live at. So I saw it was 5 acres, and now I was like, how much is the minimum bid? And they were asking for like $202,000. And I was like, I'll buy it for the $1 over. So I bought it for $1 over. I was thinking it was just land. I showed up and there's a house there. Not only is there a house there, house is like 3,500 square foot. I'm like, oh my God, this house is on water.
I was buying land and I got a free house with it.
Yeah, so I knock on the door and there's a woman living there. And, so I listened to her story, whatever, long story short, got her out of the house, wound up paying for movers, paying for her to go somewhere else, got her out of the house, did a full renovation on it, spent about $100,000, built a pool, and that's where my actual house is there now. And it's probably worth almost $1 million.
Wow.
So it was a very good deal that I got. I'm still holding on to. So I had that in cash. I got a HELOC against it, home equity line of credit, and basically still live there today.
That's awesome.
That is a win.
Yeah, it's a huge win.
Pull all that equity out of there in a home equity loan, and that's awesome, man.
Back to the auction you go.
Yeah. So once I started developing a name for myself, I started getting the off-market properties. And basically got to a point where I was buying so many off-market that I wouldn't even focus on the auctions. Didn't need to. And that's where I really, really, really started to scale, was buying from wholesalers, getting direct to sellers, my Facebook marketing. I was getting a lot of deals from that where people were reaching out direct to me. And
so what started that transition? How did that transition look like? Why did you decide to go from foreclosure to the off-market route? And then how did you make that transition?
Well, foreclosure route, I had deals coming to me, directly to me. I didn't have a name for myself. And I didn't, it's like somebody first starting out, they always ask, how do I find these deals? How are you getting these deals? Well, I'm getting these deals because of who I am, my marketing. They can see what I'm doing on Facebook. They know I'm a closer. They know I will buy. So when they know that you'll buy, that's how you get more deals fed to you. You need somebody to get in a property and you can't dispo it. What is it good?
Yeah.
You got to be able to find a buyer for it. You come to me, I will buy it. If it's a deal, it's done.
So people knew that. They saw you closing on deals and they're like, hey, do you want to buy this deal? You want to buy that deal?
They started, and that's how it started. And I was like, all right, well, forget these auctions. I'm going to start doing this. Then I started getting direct-to-seller stuff. And now the direct-to-seller stuff that's where the real bread and butter is. It's where you're finding the 60, 65% deals, that you can't say no to. You have to continue to flip those. So I basically it got to a point where I was bringing in so many properties. Like I said, I ramped this up to like almost 20 by myself. And I was like, I can't do this. It's just too stressful. I got a job that I'm dealing with. I was talking to James about it, and he's like, just send them over here and I'll take care of everything. And we kind of just went on like a JV agreement type thing. So I'd send him the deals. Basically, I was sending him on appointments, sending James on appointments for me. And we would go in there and we were locking these deals up. And next thing I know, I overloaded his system. And it was a lot of properties that I had brought in that I was getting direct to seller. Well, I basically added so much value to him. And he was like, I'm going to pour back into you. Yeah, you added so much. He can't help it but to start bringing properties.
So how are you getting all these direct-to-seller deals? What were you doing to market to these people?
A lot of it was from Facebook.
Wow.
A lot of it was from Facebook. I get a ton of deals from Facebook.
Just
Facebook
from posting?
marketing. Not even boosting.
Okay.
Facebook Marketplace. I'd go to Marketplace. I'm searching estate sales, and I'm going to estate sales on there. I'm going to garage sale. I'm just inboxing people and finding deals from that. And that's a lot of the stuff I was doing. Was my outreach was going through Facebook, and then I was getting deals where people are, hey, I got my aunt that passed away, wherever, and just getting deals like that. I still get deals today from Facebook.
That's funny.
Constantly.
That's awesome.
So, and then building a relationship with wholesalers, building relationships with them, spending time with them, and just that's really what kind of ramped my marketing side of that part of it up. And got to a point, like I said, where James, he had NASA House Buyers. I had K5. He basically shut down. I had moved over from all of K5 over into RJV, and then we created the LLC, which is a King DK Equity LLC. And that's where we basically merged those two. So he basically shut down his, I shut down mine, and everything merges through that now. And that's where we've built our wholesale operation from. We're doing PPC right now as well. We've got a good group of guys that are around us. And the biggest thing that we try to do, if we let them win first, we will win more. But we have to let them win. So any of the deals we get, like while I'm up here, I've already got an appointment set that I'm sending my guys on. And I'll get them a fee off that. So if they get it out there, they lock it up, they still get compensated from that. And even if they dispo it, I'll compensate. I don't care. That's just another stream of income that's coming into it. And then we're picking and choosing on the flips that we want to take on. The real good ones, we're cherry picking those. The other ones that we want to do, we're taking and wholesaling those over. And basically just scouring through the market like this. And that's really what's keeping it alive for us.
Is the wholesaling or the flipping?
All of it.
Yeah.
So every bit of it. I mean, we've got wholesales that we're making $5,000 on. We got some we're making $40,000 on. We got some we're making $120 on. I mean, we're really just all avenues of it. We're not turning down any deals. We're seeing how we can make them work, and that's what we're doing. So whether we're having to turn around and buy them cash, if I can't buy it, directly from them, I may go through auction. Just all avenues of it. We're not turning down money.
For sure.
So, and that's really what's kept us alive, not trying to be one-dimensional. And then we're taking the commercial side of that, where I basically skipped levels, was partnering. So I partnered with Jonathan.
Was he the first one you partnered with on buying something to hold?
No, he was not the first one I done. I did this with Robert Harold too.
Okay.
So Robert Harold he was a wholesaler.
Yep.
He had avenues to get it. I had money, I had construction, so I partnered with him, and that's how I built we had 20 houses together still. And I kind of built that with him first, saw this could work, and it would help me while I was still working at my plant job. And then same thing with Jonathan. So I found this good deal. It was an RV park. And I partnered with Jonathan on it, gave up 50% equity on it, but I got to learn a lot of stuff from him. Like I learned the commercial side that I know now was from him. And Jonathan's a beast. I can tell you that right now. I talk to him every single day. there's very few people that I would say that can work on my level at that high volume. He can do that. So, I mean, even today, even whenever he was scaling back some of his stuff on his single family stuff, he was like, I don't know how you're doing that. Like, he just like, it was a lot for him to even truly understand it. But that dude's an operator, man. He's a beast. He's a real deal.
For sure. He can't sit still.
No, he can't. Every time I call him, he's at a job, he's doing something, whatever. It's like, that's the kind of partners that I want to have. So, me and him scaled out. We're finishing. We bought a 36 unit in Houston, 34 unit in Houston, in Leland.
It's an apartment
complex.
Okay.
Yeah. So we bought that. We bought a storage facility together. We got 2 RV parks. We bought an 8 unit together. So, I mean, we've, me and Jonathan done quite a bit of stuff together. Very good dude. There's nothing but good things to say about him. That's the partners you want to have. So
for sure, it's important to have great partners. What was making you want to buy because you're making good money doing these flips, doing the wholesale thing, that kind of thing. What was making you want to buy these other properties and hold them? So
the way I always thought about it was on the flips themselves, you're only as good as your last flip or your last wholesale. Once you make that money, what are you doing with it? Yeah. So you got to generate this stuff and park some of this money somewhere. So right now we got probably about 30 lots cash that we're just holding on to. We're buying commercial assets, so I'm doing tax appreciation and appreciation.
What are you doing with those lots? Why do you have 30 lots? That's
so I'm hedging is really what we're doing. It's like land banking almost. So we're hedging against whatever happens with this market. So if for some reason things change, I can go into new construction. I've already got new construction people that are on our team that know how to run the new constructions, that are on salary, that work for me and James, that we're able to move into that very, very easily at zero cost on the GC fees. So if you're going to do new construction, either you're going to GC it yourself or you're going to have somebody and give up a fee to do that. Ours are already paid for. So, next year we're already set up. We bought a whole block in Texas City that we're going to build brand new homes and hold them as rentals. So, and we'll do a cash pull on that. We'll pull out about $600,000 in tax-free debt income on that we'll bring back into us and still cash flow on all those properties. Nice. So we have to do the volume that we're doing to keep up with the salaries of people that we have and things like that we have on board. So that's where you talk about developing a business, and being able to put this thing on autopilot and step back from it. What do I have to do to go to the next level to do that? That's what we're trying to create right now.
Yeah. So how are you going about doing that?
Scaling by pouring into people, pouring back into our people, building the wholesale operation out more. Everything starts with a deal. All of it starts with a deal. If you can find a deal and you know how to maximize that deal, now you can control everything down level of that. Whether that's through partnerships, that's money, that's construction, however it is that you structure that, if you can learn the value of what that is, you can really, really scale and maximize. One deal can alter your whole life.
For sure.
One. And most people think it's, can't wait to get to your level. You can happen in one deal. It can be, you find a development, you can wholesale something and make, $2 million. There's no limit to this. You literally can write your own checks at that point if you find a good enough deal. So
that's the whole thing. You got to start with the deal, though.
You got to start with a deal. That's where it all starts from. So we're very good at being able to find the deal. Also partnering with people, that brings another avenue of it. So it brings another avenue where, we just bought a motel in LaPorte, 14 unit that came to us from our guys. Our guys actually found this, paid $215,000. Appraisal came back at $851.
Current condition or?
Current condition. No, current condition was around 500. Okay. We're going to put about 160 into it. But we know that in LaPorte, they have grants. They give you back $75,000, up to $75,000 if you spend $150. You got to show it in invoices. Yeah. So we'll be able to do that, show it in invoice, and they'll basically pay for roofs, sidings, signs, anything on the exterior side. They'll pay for parking lots, whatever it is on the exterior side to beautify that area. They'll pay back up to $75,000.
So are y'all converting the motel into an apartment, or are y'all going to keep it a motel?
I would love to be able to convert it into an apartment. So it's going to be about how I write my leases.
Okay.
So if I have to do them as 30-day and redo every 29 days, I'll do whatever I can to maximize that. Right now, we bought it. Somebody was staying there. They're paying us $235 a week. Just stay there. $215, you buy with bank money. I mean, your cost on that is next to nothing right now until we get the grant stuff situated, which we're almost there. So we just bought that like last week.
Nice.
So
and then once you get the grant stuff situated, you're going to go in and
we'll do a full renovation, and actually came with a different parcel of land. So, we're looking at our deals and really maximizing them. I could take a deal that you send me. I might be able to find a buyer for it and daisy chain this. I may do a pass through. You don't know about it. Cost me $600. I perform for you, and then I sell it off to somebody else. I make my fee and move on from it. Or I could look and say, instead of me making 10 grand, if I flip this into a market that I know, even though it's tight, I'll over rehab and undervalue it, it'll still move.
Yeah.
It'll still move, and I can squeeze out $45,000. I'm going to do that deal all day long in prime school district areas.
Yeah.
So that's what we're focused on. A lot of it right now is in prime school district areas. How can I get in and out of these houses? You look at what we just did in Omega Bay in Galveston. You got over 60-something houses that are active listing in Omega Bay and Bayou Vista.
Yep.
We just got ours under contract in less than 30 days. How did I do that? The only way you're going to do that is to buy it deep, do your rehab better than anybody else that's out there. It doesn't mean you have to spend the most. It just means yours has to look better than everybody else that's out there. And then you undercut the market. And that's what we're doing. Those deals like that we'll make, 150 out of. And so...
but it takes the strategy of doing what you're doing, of like, you got to buy it deep enough, and then you got to rehab it the right way, beat everybody else's rehab, and then still undercut the market a little bit.
Yep. And then we bought we brought the flooring and the cabinets in-house, so now we're buying direct from overseas. So we're buying them in containers. We've got our flooring or cabinet business that we just started off.
So you're going to be selling flooring and cabinets?
We already are.
Okay.
Yeah. Our first month we made just on our cut was like $12,000. Just another stream. We're just filling up multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
On that, like our first, which was a very first month, it was like almost 100,000 in square foot in flooring that we had sold. So, and we're buying the 20 millimeter wear layer luxury vinyl plank at $1.65. That's
straight
cheaper
from
than
China.
That's cheaper than you can buy it anywhere else, and that's what we're selling. Obviously we're making a cut off that. But we're selling it to everybody else at $1.65. Then most of the people are getting that at the 12 mil price. And we're doing the 20 mil at that. So it's undercutting everyone else out there at a better product at a cheaper price than you can buy anywhere else. And doing that with our cabinets too. So we've brought construction in-house. Construction's in-house. Basically, we control all avenues of everything that we're doing. When I talk about being self-sufficient, that's where we're transferring over to completely.
So who's driving, bringing all this in-house? Was it your idea, or is it like James's idea, or how you are driving all this to go in-house?
So I would say, James has a lending side of it that he's focused on a lot of it. I've never been paid from the lending side of it, nor do I care about that side of it. On that end of it, I'm more concerned with what we're doing on our flips and our wholesale side that I'm focused on. So whenever me and James kind of basically merged, that's whenever we really were able to really scale, even past what he's even went to, was really able to scale because I could focus on that. I'm involved with a lot of the design, the construction, and things like that we're doing. That's where my background was when I was GCing this stuff myself. So a lot of the subs that we're using are subs that I had.
From back in the day.
From back that were built these relationships with. And
I think that there's something to be said about this. It's not like you started in 2020 and just became an overnight success.
No.
This is not an overnight. You don't just start tomorrow and do this kind of things that Derek is doing. It takes years of building these networks, years of building this experience, you put in tons of hours compared to most people what they would put in because you're addicted to it. You're obsessed with it.
Yep.
And building the expertise over time to become the success that you are today. Because, man, like I said, I think you're doing more than most people I know in Houston, anybody I know, really.
A lot of people, they think that, even what I post online are like, man, you're doing a lot. You only see a quarter. Like, it's really what it is. It's about a quarter of what we're actually truly doing. I've got new constructions that I'm doing in Houston, in the middle of Houston, that we're taking single family homes and converting them to triplexes, duplexes, going through with actual remodel permits. And I'm doing that in Houston actively right now. I've got 3 of those going. I've got new constructions that we're doing in Alvin that we're building duplexes out there. We just finished a new construction in my Bellevue. We're about to start another one at El Lago. Those things are things that I'm even posting about on some of it. And I still have different partners that I'm working those with. So basically my partnerships that I have now, there's no reason for me to open that up or revamp further than what I already have the people. I think I have everybody in place right now to get me to well over $100 million if I wanted to. So
is that the goal?
No, money's not the motive. The freedom is. So freedom to be able to say, I can wake up and decide what I want to do for the day for the rest of my life. That to me is the ultimate goal to ever get to.
Are you not deciding now?
So I'm waking up. I could decide my schedule. I could decide what I feel like if I want to do anything or whatever. I can go on vacations and do all that stuff. But I'm still at a point right now where I still have to be involved in what we're doing on a day-to-day routine, or it doesn't run as efficient, and I still have, an obligation that I have to do between partners and things like that. So I don't think I'll ever go into an actual full retirement part of it. I still want to have something that I'm doing that's involving, but as long as I have my phone, I can do anything that I need to do from where I'm at, wherever I'm at, as long as I have my cell phone. I spend a lot of time on my phone, whether it's driving, texting, whatever it is, closing deals, a lot of that stuff happens from my cell phone.
Hopefully you're not doing too much driving and texting at the same time.
Yeah, I wish I could say that, man, but unfortunately,
signing documents while I was driving around and everything.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wish I could say that, but that would be me lying. But and a lot of it, even on my Facebook, is very, very transparency. Like whatever I post, I promise you is 100% real. It's legit. I'm not, doing it professionally. I'm trying to keep it authentic to what it is that I'm actually doing. And I run into a point where I want to post enough, but you can't post too much because you'll lose the like being valid part of it. It's you want to post, but you want to get your name out there, but you don't want to post too much because you'll flood it. So you're having to ride a fine line of that. How I'm doing. I want to make sure that anybody that sees me attaches me to real estate and they know what I'm doing. So, and I was doing that. I've been doing that for a long time. Basically, any conversation that I have with people, I will transfer it over into real estate.
Cool.
So
that's awesome. And that's how you're getting deals from all different angles, right?
Yeah. I'm focused on building relationships with wholesalers, people that bring me value, encouraging those wholesalers to go to the next level. I just had one recently. He'd been wholesaling for 4 years, never done a deal. I'd never done a flip before. Well, I put him into his first flip. He found the deal, put him into his first flip, and I'm giving him an equity split on the backside. I'm handling the construction. I put it into my name. I gave him a profit split on the backside. First flip, I said, you post about it. I'll never post about it. You get all the fame and glory on it. It's yours. That's what you say, whatever. You do it. I won't post about it. But I wanted him to get the experience on doing that. He can go get the videos of it. He can go see the construction and how the process works. He can see the numbers from it, being transparent on it. Like we're very transparent with our back office where you're able to see everything that's going on to the penny. There's no Zales. Everything is to a T with our back office, with W9. It's very, very professional on that end of it. So the only way you can really get to where you're scaling away from an actual job is to build a team out to be able to do that. You have to have good people around you.
100%. Okay, so we're coming to the end of our show, and I think you've got a lot of good knowledge, and you've shared a ton of great things with all of our listeners and the people who watch the show. If somebody's at zero today, and they've been wanting to get into real estate, and they don't really know how to take that next step, what are you suggesting to them to go from 0 to 1?
So from 0 to 1, very first thing, I've always said this, if I was going to go into a different area, I could go into any state in the world. I would be calling around to title companies or attorneys that do this, and I would find out who is the guy, whose name continues to coming up. If it's Derek Kelley that's coming up on there, I'm going to make myself be around him. Whatever it takes, I'll do whatever I need to be around you. There's no way that you're around high performers when you're actually like true high performers, and they're not going to want to see you succeed as well when you get around people like that. And that's the guy I would find. I would find the person that was doing that type of volume. If you're around them, if I go hang out with you every day, it's impossible for me not to get a deal.
It's true.
It's impossible. So I would go do that. I would go get around those guys, and they would have to see me. and I would add value to them however I could. I'd bring them coffee every day, whatever it took. I'd be your, whatever it took, I'd be your guy. Let me be around you to see what you're doing, and I would copy it. I would copy exactly what they're doing and put myself into a deal. And then the only thing I could really add value on something like that when you don't have money is to learn how to go find those deals. I would learn what those guys were doing, how to go find those deals, go on appointments, how do I talk, and I would mirror what they're doing. And that's exactly what I would do. And so you find those guys and go be around them.
Yeah. So I want everybody to take note. It wasn't go read a book. It wasn't go listen to this podcast or do that or do this. It was go find the person that's doing the most in your area and get around them.
Go get around them.
Be a value add to them.
Value add, whatever you could, go get around that guy. You look at basically what I did with Jonathan. I found a deal that I knew that was past me, I had never done, and I went and added value to somebody else first. And by doing that, I received value back because he saw how I was. Not saying he wouldn't have, but it would have been hard to break through that like that. You go make money with somebody, you're going to see how they really are. You put money into somebody's pocket, they're going to pour into you.
100%.
Especially if they're good people, and you'll learn that sometimes a good and a bad way.
Yeah, it's a great way to learn.
Yep.
It's a really good way to learn.
Yes.
If people wanted to get a hold of you and get involved with you in some way, shape, or form, how should they reach out to you?
Contact me on Facebook, under my name, Derek Kelley, or call my cell phone, 281-352-2632. And I'm very available. That's one thing I will say. I make myself available. Answer phones. I probably got 30 to 40 text messages right now I got to get back to, but I make myself available as much as I can. That's why I get a lot of deals from that. It's usually the first one of the punch. When a deal comes, I'm ready. So, and the decision's already been made to buy prior to me receiving that phone call.
It's just got to be the right numbers.
Numbers got to work. They got to make sense. I don't force anything. If the numbers work, I make it. I'm a closer. That's what I do. I buy stuff.
Well, Derek, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. We really appreciate it. What an honor to have you on here, man. And
thank you all.
Look forward to seeing what you're doing next.
Absolutely.